All right, today on the Garage Gym Experiment podcast, we have Eliott Ekindi. He is the founder of UClips. I've been following his story pretty much since COVID. Um, Pretty inspiring. Elliot, thanks for joining. Before we get going into the UClips story, would you mind just giving a little bit of background on who you are and anything else you'd want the listeners to know?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, something that people don't really know about me is I'm French, but I sound British because I've lived 6 years in England when I was a kid. That's actually how I learned to speak English. And I got to the US the year before COVID. And the reason I came to the US in the first place was because I played tennis. So I played tennis for 18 years. And it took me to the US at first in Florida. And then we got sent back home. So I was back in France and with no gym, no tennis courts to work out or train in. And all I had was my dad's basement. And my dad's basement literally had like plates and a standard barbell. Uh, but at that time, I was very much broke, so I couldn't afford anything else. I just had to like do what I could with what I had. And so when I looked on the market to see if there was anything that could like basically optimize what I had, instead of being a separate equipment, I couldn't find anything. So from there, it was like, all right, well, I was thinking about, okay, I know from my university about adjustable dumbbells. That's how I got introduced to them. And I was like, all right, well, what can we do with adjustable dumbbells? What can we do with plates that we're not doing with adjustable dumbbells? And obviously, loading them on a bar, loading on a dip belt, loading them on a pulley system, all those types of things. And all they had to do was basically hook the handle and then have something hook the clip to a carabiner. And so that's a very quick version of a 6 month process in terms of like iteration stuff. So after that, I went back to uni. I was doing mechanical engineering back then, and luckily enough, a class was basically fix a problem that you had in during COVID with a product. And so I'm pretty lazy, so I just wanted the A and get out. So I was all right. I thought about this thing. I'll present it, and once I presented it, the teacher was like, "Hey, this is actually a pretty good idea. Like, do you know if it exists on the market?" And I was like, "No, I was looking for it, but it just wasn't there." And she was like, "Maybe you should try it." And I was like, "Okay, let's try it." And I think that simple question is what really brought me to where I am today, and I'm really grateful for that class, to be honest. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of like the upbringing of how Euclips came to be, at least the quicker version. Does that answer your question, Jake?
Yeah. So I'd love to just go into what happened next. Like, you're like, okay, maybe I check this out. Were you like what grade were you?
It was second semester sophomore. Second semester sophomore.
Okay, your second semester sophomore. You're playing college tennis. You have this idea. You also have a workload of school. Can you tell me, yeah, after your teacher said, well, maybe you should go do this, can you tell me like what the next 6 months, year looked like for you?
Yeah. Yeah, well, like you said, I had tennis, I had mechanical engineering, and I had the UClip, just the development of the UClip. It wasn't even the business at that point.
Right.
And it was very much like not a lot of social life, to be honest. I was working 24/7. Like I'd have to like wake up maybe like 5:30, 6 to go to the gym, have our athletic training, come back, go through our classes, and then have a tennis training at night. And then when I came back after that, I'd be really tired. But somewhere in between there, I'd find like 30 to an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, just to focus on, okay, well, how can I improve the product? And just like I remember at the very start, I would go and I'd ask a bunch of people. One of the first people I ever worked with was Dad Shredded, and he has a picture of like the one of the first ever prototypes. It's kind of funny. Um, and just like asking him like what does he think, or what should I do, how do I make it more efficient, etc. And so for the next 6 months it was very much me thinking about the product development as an engineer, and I think that was also a problem now that I think about it today, because I was trying to make it do everything, instead of like really asking the end customer like, what do you want in this product? So for example, at the beginning, I was neglecting just like having that rubber cover that we've
Yeah.
developed. Like we've changed that three or four times now, because it's such a big like keeping your equipment intact and having that nice knurling on your barbell stay there and just leave no marks. All of that was super important. But since I was broke, I didn't really think about it too much. I just had my dad's barbell, and I was just like, okay, well, it's a barbell. Um, so it was like really getting to that point of understanding what the customer wanted for the first 6 months and developing it at the same time outside of my brain. Um, and that was actually really challenging because, like, I know today most people look at it and say, "Oh, it's super simple," but it like simple isn't easy. Uh, it took a lot of work to get it to this point, and there are a lot of little details. For example, the first prototypes were just made to fit on the adjustable dumbbells that I had at the time, the Bowflex. So they were dimensioned to basically work perfectly with that. But as we started like actually seeing what people were using them for, a main like use function was this like pivot landmine function. And for that to be able to fit on spotter arms or just general bigger diameter bars, like we had to modify the overall structure to make it compatible with more equipment so we could help more people. And that came, I think that's a little after 6 months from then. That was once we got some initial feedback. Um, but it was still just iteration on iteration. And I think until senior year, like I didn't stop like asking people, what would you change? What would you improve? And obviously things take time with just like having to make the molds and having them shipped here and then getting feedback and getting that feedback loop uh, going. So yeah, no social life, a lot of iterations, a lot of asking people what they want, and then just implementing and starting over. That was basically my college life.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, I did see like the Instagram post that you made that showed like the original prototypes and how it slowly but surely evolved. You mentioned Dad Shredded. I've seen him do some posts on Instagram. I didn't necessarily know he was involved like that early in the company, I guess, or the development. I'm curious how you even got in touch with him.
Yeah, it was he's an OG. I think it was him, it was Home Gym Jake, and then it was Stefan from he's from Sweden, I believe. And then there's Home Gym Europe as well. Those were like the main guy. I only had 20 prototypes. Like I couldn't like send 100 out. Um, but I think I saw some of his videos, and then I sent him like a video of what I was doing. And I was like, hey, like, do you think you could help me promote this? Because at that time I thought like, oh, if I get like some influencers to promote it, it'll boom, and it's just not how things work. But something better came out of that. He said, "Yeah, I'll give it a try," and he took one of the prototypes and basically played around with it, gave me the feedback, and then from there it was just like basically it was one like a marketing like relationship, and it was also like kind of a mentoring relationship because he's typically what our customers look like, you know, like. Uh, mid-age like male that works out in their garage, that has kids and has a busy lifestyle. Like that's who we serve, you know. Um, and it was good to get his feedback and see what he would change, and like having that kind of customer persona to actually talk to and like just go along with. Uh, like people don't know this, but sometimes I just get ideas, and I'd be like, hey, could you try this out and let me know if this is useful to you? So like one of the things was the pulley system being able to just hook on the clip to your DIY pulley system, and then hooking whatever dumbbell you want on it, and that popped off. So that was good. And then the other one was the actual lever. Just like I was like at one point I was like, hey, if I can fit a dumbbell handle into this, I can fit any handle. So what if I just like set it to be like a one bar? So I just took a barbell and I took another barbell and I fit it through as well. And I was like, hey, wouldn't this be useful to like for like shoulder press and stuff? And he was like, yeah, it probably would be good for Viking press. And that's now like 80%, well, maybe not 70% of our sales is just from that landmine functionality. So having that mentor kind of figure and that marketing figure has been huge for me. Like I'm super respectful and super grateful to have met this guy. And I mean the other guys as well, Stefan, Jake. I don't think I know the name of Home Gym Europe. I think I just I
Home
think I
Gym
just call
Vault
it Home
Europe?
Gym
Is
Europe.
it Vault Europe?
But yeah, Home Gym Vault Europe. Yeah. Um,
I would be curious to hear like how you intentionally used it, what you thought people were going to buy it for, and then like what are the other like ways that people used it, because it's definitely a product that I noticed people just got it and started using it in different ways.
so yeah, I mean, initially, the first ever thing we were supposed to do was to put dumbbells on barbells, just to save money. That was the first thing.
Okay.
And then from
Yeah.
there, it was okay, what can we do with plates that we can't do with dumbbells? And that's when all the utilities that came with carabiners happened. And then once I realized, okay, I'm not actually optimizing the dumbbell, I'm optimizing the handle of the dumbbell. So I was like, all right, well, what other handles are there in the gym space that I can optimize? And obviously, like basically anything you're going to be lifting uh, has a handle. So from there was like the T-bar rows. Once we had it to be symmetric, we could use it to hook on grips to handles, barbell handles. And then it was like, okay, how can we optimize the sleeves of the barbells as well? So that was like, for example, the bell squat functionality was a big one. Um, and then from there, like I've seen people do really really cool stuff with it. Like I just talked to someone yesterday, and he runs I think his name's Nick. He runs a ninja what's it called, like a ninja course thing. So
Hmm.
what he did was he has two poles that are roughly a barbell apart, and he has like a 2 inch like bar basically. And what he did was he put he put two clips on the bars and then linked the bar to the other two bars so that he could basically swing off of
Hmm.
the initial bar, and like move the bar along as he was like swinging on it. And I was like, wow, like I had no I didn't know anyone would ever do this. Another one was a father was trying to test out if his um, what are they called when you put like a string between two branches and then you put like a seat on it and then you
Hammock,
just
hammock.
not a hammock, like it's like a long, like not like Tarzan, but you know how the ski things that pull you up, uh I don't know what
Yeah.
that's called in
Ski
English.
lift.
Yeah, so imagine it, I don't know what a ski lift is between like just two branches. But anyway, he was making something with his kids and he
Oh,
wanted
is
to
it kind of like
test.
a slide? Like a slide?
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of.
you would slide on the cable, and then a seat would be underneath. Oh, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Interesting.
So so
I mean, it's strong
he was
enough.
trying to, yeah, yeah. So he was just trying to test that, and he just sent me a video of like, hey, I found a new way to use the clip, and it was just, again, like, I think people are really starting to think out the box with the clip, and it's surprising to get those videos, because originally it wasn't made for that at all. Uh, yeah, that
Gotcha.
was a very long answer. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. No. If anybody goes to your Instagram account, they'll see stuff like that. But it was interesting to know that it was originally just designed as like a way to put dumbbells.
Yeah, yeah. The original purpose was that.
Okay, so what about like I'd be curious to hear like how it progressed over time. So like you mentioned that it was the second half of your sophomore year that you went for this. I'd be curious to hear a timeline and maybe hear like where you were at by the end of your senior year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say for the first 6 months, it was very much just me trying to design the product, and I wasn't thinking about it too seriously until I'd say junior year, and then I think junior year was 2022, and in 2022, like, my girlfriend, I think I had a conversation with my girlfriend at one point, and she was like, "All right, well, it's cool designing the clip and stuff, but you got to start selling it at one point." And at that point, it just kind of clicked. I was like, "All right, well, yeah, she's right. I do have to start selling this. Like, you can't just stay as a prototype forever." Um, and from there, it was like up to, I'd say, this is when the really bad stuff happened. Like, I was not in a good place because I was trying to figure out how to do manufacturing. I had no experience whatsoever, uh, and I was trying to make it in the U.S. at the beginning, and it was like, the unit economics were just not gonna work. Yeah, I would have had to sell it for like 70, maybe 70 to $80 per unit if I was making it in the U.S. because it's just 7 times the price to make it here. And that was just for the metal part, because I couldn't afford making a die in the US. I think that was like 50 or 60 grand. I didn't have that. Um, and so for the next 4 to 5 months of my junior year, the first 4 to 5 months of my junior year, it was just me struggling to find a manufacturer, struggling to get everything up and running. And I was very, very lucky. So Benji from Freak Athlete, he was one of the initial pre-order customers. And at one point, he just like, we're just talking, and then at one point, he's like, "Hey, like, where's my UClip, you know?" And I was like, "Look, man, like, I I can't get a manufacturer to make it. Like, I had found someone that could make the prototypes, but what happened was they used a manufacturing process called step bending, and that wasn't scalable. But they never told me this. I figured this out like maybe 4 or 5 months later. And yeah, they kind of ghosted us. I'm not too sure why. And Benji was just like, "Well, look, I run a fitness company as well, and we have manufacturers in China, and I don't want to go to China back then." And he was like, "We can get this done in maybe 2 months." And I was like, "Look, if you're gonna fix a problem that I've had for 5 months in 2 months, and you can guarantee it like 100%, like, let's do it, you know." And so he did. He did. In 2 months, we had product, and we were able to sell. I think our first sale was, uh, like, not pre-order, but first sale shipped was in November 2022. So we got incorporated directly then. Again, I had no idea what I was doing until then. And from there, I was like, "All right, Ben, well, let's work together." And so we worked together for, I think, 4 or 5 months, maybe 6. and his company just blew up. So he was like, "Look, I don't have the work, I don't have the time to work on it anymore. So let's part ways for now." And he's been a mentor since then. So yeah, that was junior year, and then we split with Ben roughly early senior year, maybe like February or March. Don't quote me on that. I'm not good with timelines, but after that, it was kind of like, okay, how do I run this by myself? So I remember once we weren't working with Ben's fulfillment center back at the time, like I had to bring all the stock to to my door. I remember the hassle was insane. I remember in the middle of senior year, I had to just get some friends and be like, "Hey guys, like we've got a couple hundred orders to fulfill that are backlogged by like a month because we had to change every part of their system. Like, can you guys help me?" So I took a couple guys from the tennis team, um, and we were just out there just fulfilling in the university mail room. It was insane. And then finally we got a new fulfillment center, and they did the job correctly. But like that was towards the middle to end of senior year, and mind you, like I'm still not full time in this. Like I'm doing this very much as like one product. I'm trying to sell as much as I can, and trying to do something with it. Um, and then after senior year, so towards the end, I'm like, all right, well, I either need to get a job or I need to do a master's, but I can't live off Euclips. So I was looking for engineering jobs, and then my girlfriend got accepted at the University of Notre Dame. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna get a job and be away from you. So I was like, all right, let's see if I can get into Notre Dame. And I applied for this entrepreneurial program. And since I already had the UClip going, I got accepted. And so we went to Notre Dame for a year. And it was a lot easier. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot easier because I didn't have tennis and I didn't have mechanical engineering. Like, I mean, business school compared to the engineering school is a lot easier. Like,
Interesting.
I used to like have some doubts, maybe, maybe not. No, now I know. Now I know that. Sorry, my girlfriend was just like, that's not. But she, but yeah. So it was a lot easier to actually focus on the business a little more. But we did have a lot of issues because the at least what I think happened was the political campaigns were taking so much space in the advertising space that like it became really, really hard to sell. So I remember we had like 2 to 3 months where we were just breaking even, you know, like no matter how hard I tried to make better ads and target better people, like we would, it was really, really rough. I think that was between February and April, and then it got better, and then it got better, and graduated in May 2024, and then I've been full time since then. And since then, it's been a lot easier to actually like focus on, okay, the business as a whole, not just like how much Euclips can we sell, but how can we build a better business. And from there, it was like, okay, well, I realized we probably have like at that time, I think we had like 15,000 customers, but we couldn't sell them anything else. It was like the clip was made to be like a lifetime thing. Like there's no reason to change the clip. Like it's gonna be there forever. Um, and so I was like, all right, well, how do we serve our customers better? And so I just went into the comments and I looked at what people were asking from us and just started making it. So for example, one of the main things that we got asked for is if we sold dip belts with them, if we sold Viking presses with them, if we sold pulley systems, um, and like T-bar row handles, for example. So we started making all these things. Um, And then from then on, I was like, okay, well, what does my customer also want? I know they like to have optimized an optimized space. So how do I make something optimal for them? And I was like, all right, well, I was looking at the gym, like uh, the back cable attachments that were on the market, and I was like, all of these attachments, like not all of them, but my favorite had a very similar structure, and I was like, all right, well, how can I combine this so that I stay in the brand of optimal gym equipment, um, so I could serve the same customers that I've already served and just make them have a better home gym overall. And so that's where kind of the back bar came in. That was maybe like I got the idea. I I had a prototype in when I went to Home Gym Con, but I was advised not to take it to Home Gym Con when I stayed with Brian from Waited Out, and he's like, yeah, maybe don't take it to Home Gym Con if you're still working on the design and everything. I was like, all right, I won't take it. And he was super cool. Like he was giving me advice the whole time. So shout out to him. Uh, and then I think, yeah, you mentioned it on your website, and people have been. I mean, we're gonna get it in house 2 weeks or 3 weeks. 20 days roughly. So I'm really excited to get it out to the guys, or to the customers, because I use it every back day, and it's just been really good. And so yeah, basically after May, going full time, developing new products for our customers, like the back bar and the smile handle, and then producing better versions of what they're already asking us for. So here's, for example, like you'll see this maybe. This is the Viking press that we're working on right now.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
basically made it as simple as possible. Um, and yeah, it's I think it's better than on the market just because you have more freedom in where you want to place your hands. Like it's not straight tubes welded onto them, and we can make it affordable just because of how we're manufacturing it. Obviously, we don't have the quantity of like a Titan Fitness or like another big
Right.
brand like that. But again, just trying to give the customers what they're asking for. Um, and then here, I'll give you another seat peek. Like this is a retractor I'm working on for a pulley system. I'm trying to make a pulley system that isn't like every other pulley system, that has at least some type of benefit when you buy from us. So yeah, in the works. And yeah, since May, it's been a lot of product development, also expanding to new markets. So we launched in the UK, and we are opening in Canada, Australia, and we're working on a Polish warehouse to serve our European customers. Because since we're such low AOV, uh, like shipping and duties, like when that exceeds the price of the product, it takes away a lot of customers, you know. So yeah, that's the plan. That's been until senior year, and then past masters, and up until now, basically.
Very cool. From my end, it's cool to hear the story. It's cool to hear like your strategy, which I didn't necessarily know. But now that you say it, totally makes sense. And I have some follow-up questions. So number one, I would say I want to ask like I don't know what the best time frame is, but I'm looking for any advice for anybody else in your kind of shoes when you have this original product. What was the best way that you found to get the word out?
With the no money, uh,
Yeah,
well, there's
maybe the
two
bet.
case scenarios.
I was gonna say
I
maybe
think.
the best way to get the word out in different phases of the business. Yeah.
Mhm. So I think, first of all, I think posting on social media, like on your own page, like 2 to 3 times a day. That's what I did for an entire summer. I posted 3 times a day. Completely overrated. Like 100% completely overrated. Um, I think the best way to go about it, especially as you're starting, is to collaborate with micro influencers, and not because they're going to give you the awareness that you want, but if you team up with the right influencers, or just not even influencers, but like content creators, uh, what they do is, since they're known from the community and they allow you to use the videos to edit. Let's say, like, we work with Dad Shredded, Flex Master Spot. Sorry, we didn't work with Basement Brandon,
I've seen like Flex Marks the
Luke's
Spot,
Garage Gym.
Luke's Garage Gym.
Yeah, so if we combine all of them and we put them all into one video, like, our target audience at least knows one of these people, right? So once
Mm.
we make those videos, and let's say we put maybe $10 a day into ads, um, then you can pick who sees your videos, and you can target them specifically, uh, instead of having like the 15-year-old teenager that tells you it's useless, for example. Uh, I think that's the best way to go about it. Like, team up with the right content creators, regardless of if they have a massive following or not. Um, and then target the exact people that you want, uh, to see your product at a low scale. Make sure it's scalable, and then from there, it's just like, okay, increase a little bit, see if it's see if it's stable, then increase again, etc., etc. I think that's that by itself, like, cost me maybe 3 to 4 months of just work that wasn't really effective. Like, I think if you scroll all the way down to our page, it's just me doing a bunch of stuff with Euclips, and it wasn't necessarily effective. Um,
Interesting. What
yeah,
about,
so that's
and
how I go
then
about it.
follow up to that? Was it you doing that, or did you like hire someone to put everything together? Just you.
No, it was just me, just me. And it's still very much a lot of me. People think we're a lot bigger than we actually are. Like, uh, it's I'll work with third parties and contractors, but I'm the only direct employee at this point. Uh, so what I did was, I would use a an app called InShot, um, and I'd edit the videos super simple. Like, I'd just show what you could, like, the benefits of using the clip, with several people doing it, on one video, and just have a compilation of benefits, basically, and just I'd upload that with very simple captions, and that's what's worked. If you're really interested, if people are really interested, then they can go to our page, and then they can see, like, the story videos, for example, that I put up there. But that doesn't necessarily convert to sales. It's more of like, okay, if people are interested and want to get to know the brand and inherently, like, become a long-lasting, like, supporter, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
uh, then that's what's good for those videos. But when you're getting top of funnel, traffic, the best way to do it is just show the benefits. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't like it, they don't like it. And I think that's
Mhm.
the best way to go about it.
Any other lessons learned in spreading the word that you think would help others? That's
One
okay if
sec, one
not.
sec.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ultimate strategy, like at least as far as meta ads go, content is king now, because media buying has changed a lot from being manual input to, AI driven. A lot of, like, agencies will, oh yeah, here's a good one. Here's a good one. If you're starting, with, um, just ads in general, and an agency comes to you to promote your products, and they want to charge you a fee with no skin in the game, and they have, like, a 2 to 3 or 6 month, contract term, that's like a huge red flag. Like I remember at the beginning, I I took out a small loan just to work with this agency because they told me to. Um, I won't say who it is just because I don't think it's worth like denigrating who they are. This was a long time ago. Um, but I remember that was probably one of the worst decisions I ever made in my life. Like remember that remember that marketing is supposed to increase profits and it shouldn't burn into your cash. Like unless you're a venture-backed company where you have like a business plan where it'll you'll plan to start profits in 2 years, but you've got to invest in all types of mega influencers and build brand awareness and all that. Like that's a different kind of business model. But when you're just trying to sell your stuff, like keep it as simple as possible. Make the ads yourself. Let Meta basically use like Meta's a multi-billion dollar they know you and your customers more than you do, right? So let them do the work and 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 if someone is trying to help you but has no skin in the game, don't go for it. It's a huge red flag. It's like I have a simple rule now. If any company comes to me and says, "Oh, we have a more than 1 month minimum contract," I'm just like, no, like, because what it tells you is that they're not confident enough to give you a service that will make you want to stay, so they have to put a retainer of at least 3 months, so that within that time period they can find someone to replace you and keep their business model going. So that's like a huge red flag to me. And especially starting out, I wouldn't agency that suggests anything remotely close to that. Um, if that makes
Got it.
sense. And for
Yeah.
anyone listening, like there are agencies that are performance based. So for example, we're working with one right now. Like we have a very simple agreement. Like if you can do a better job than me at a cost that is less than the profits that you would generate, we can work together. Otherwise, we're just not going to work together. So yeah, that exists, and you should 100% um, take advantage of it.
Makes sense. For like those who want to like maybe tinker with some ads, what you mentioned how like smart Meta is. You know, when you go to Instagram or Facebook, would you do you have like advice for people just tinkering with it? Like for example, would you just click that automatic audience that Meta initially chooses, or would you like play with the keyword and stuff like that?
So thing is, if Meta is very data driven, so at the beginning, what I would suggest is if you have no prior sales and no customer list, go for targeted audiences. We still use targeted audiences sometimes on
Okay.
some, like maybe 10% of our budget goes to there. Um,
And yeah,
and
not
once you,
just yeah, just let me stop you. And by targeted audiences, you mean like you add in keywords, age, location, that type of stuff. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So for example, on Meta, you can like guaranteed customers for the fitness industry is Rogue Fitness. Like Meta will allow you to target people that are affiliated with Rogue Fitness. And so, since you know that Rogue Fitness only sells sporting goods and sporting goods within the weightlifting industry, if you're making something for the weightlifting industry, then they should be somewhat relevant to what you're selling. Um, so, start with that. Start with the basics, like I don't know, like weightlifting, lifting, dumbbells, barbells, like anything that's directly related to you. Maybe spend like maybe just $10 a day, and you'll get results. You'll be able to see what works, what doesn't work. And then from there again, you scale a little bit. But I would say that there's a course from, I think it's on Udemy. This is a really good course. Like I was already all right at meta ads, but after I let me find this for you real quick.
Yeah, I know what Udemy is.
It's a specific one. Like these guys, I think it's I think it's Course Envy, but I've got to. Can you like write captions under the podcast
Yeah, I was
or
gonna
send
say
it to you
just
later?
send it to me after, and I'll put
Okay,
it in
perfect.
the links. Yeah,
All right, I'll
for
do that.
sure.
Because yeah, once I took that course, like I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know the like the tiny details that actually make a difference. And that course really taught me how to do that because there's a lot of other parameters that aren't like within the meta ads manager that you can take advantage of. For example, the meta pixel, the way it's set up originally isn't the best way that you can track your data. And you should take advantage of um, AWS uh, the AWS tracker that basically doesn't only use your website events, but it goes at on a browser level so that I mean since the iOS update, tracking anything has been super hard. So that makes it a lot more effective. And so if Meta can learn quicker and better, then it can target your customers better. And if you can target your customers better, your marketing costs go down, and that's super important. Because no matter how good an ad is, if it's shown to the wrong person, it won't convert. So yeah, in that course, it goes through all those details, um, and I'd highly recommend it if you're gonna start meta ads. Like I think before starting it, you should. I think it might be like $100 or maybe $200. I don't remember. But that $100 to $200 in the long term it's gonna pay itself off. Maybe if you're spending $10 a day, maybe like 2 months. But at the rate we're spending, it would have just like maybe a day. That's about it. So
Um, what about business school? Is business school worth it?
um, I'll say this. I'll say this. Um, because the thing is, uh, the program that I went to, I made a mistake. I made a mistake because basically the whole point was you get to do this entrepreneurial endeavor with a bigger company than yourself, or you can run your own company on the side. Well, no, your own company, and then they basically help you. And in the program, there were companies like SpaceX, Google, uh, just like really big companies that I really wanted to work for. And I didn't get any of them. I got a separate company that I didn't necessarily learn a lot from, and I would have like been so much further if I got help to work on the company I was actually working on. So I think in the curriculum sense, the business school is going to teach you how to become a billionaire, basically. If unless you're a super genius like Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, who I think he was studying, um, was he studying like space, no, rocket science or something like that? I don't remember. Like, no, a physicist, a theoretical physicist. Like he was a theoretical physicist before he was like launching Amazon or something. So unless you're a super genius and you think you can become a billionaire before you become a millionaire, like to me it doesn't make sense. Like I'm just gonna be straight up. Like it doesn't make sense to teach someone how to run before they can crawl. Uh,
Yeah, sounds
so
risky.
I think yeah, it is kind of risky, but I'll say this: the connections that you make in the business school are Like they're worth the cost of going to. Um, like I've met people that are just some of them are just insanely smart, and I respect them a lot. And then some of them are further than me in life, and being able to learn from those people has been really, really good. Besides the curriculum, like some classes are just common sense on a whiteboard to me at least. Um, so yeah, I'd say if you know why you're going and exactly like what you're gonna get out from the program, I think it is worth it, especially with that networking aspect. Like now that I'm an alumni from Notre Dame, like I have access to all these people, which is amazing, and completely worth it. But the curriculum itself, that's where you want to be careful. Like I haven't done an MBA, but what I did was similar to an MBA, um, and learning the foundations of business, such as like accounting, finance, um, just general advertising metrics, unit economics. All of that has been like it's crucial. If you want to really build something big, it's crucial, and that I've been realizing that for the past 6 months. So yeah, is it worth it? If you don't know what you're getting from the curriculum, no. If you do, yes. If you go into a good networking school, yes.
Good to know. Have switching topics, have you had to deal with any like copycats? And if so, like how's that been? And what's the best way to deal with them?
Yeah, we have our first copycat, our first AliExpress copycat, but since we got our patent in the US, they're not advertising for the US.
Okay.
And they have they have design flaws. I mean, if you look at their design, you'll quickly see like why they're serving a different type of customer that we are. Um, but yeah, they were smart about it because they're not advertising it in the US. So when I went back home to France and I got an ad for it, I was like, wait, that's my product. And I was like, all right, well, that's kind of weird. But yeah, so we've got that copycat. But besides that, we haven't had real problems. I mean, so far the gym equipment industry for us for Euclips has been great. Um, for the back bar, different story. We had this guy threatening to sue us because we were infringing on his patent. It was the
Black
flex
Widow?
wheeler,
Oh,
yeah, the
reflex.
Black Widow guy. And I was like, so I looked at his patents and I was like, okay, well, there doesn't seem to be a claim that we're infringing at all. So he just kept on trying to push oh, we can make a deal. Um, like if we give them parts of the profits and stuff, and then he went silent. Like after we told him like there's clearly no claims that we're infringing on your patent. He went silent. He took down his Instagram page, and it was like a first for me at least. And it turns out it's actually pretty common in the industry, at least when you're designing something that has a like competitive product. What I think happened is he saw that we had a better version. Well, not a better version, but like a better design to do what his product could do at a better cost. So I think he felt a little threatened by that, and yeah, decided to put pressure on me. And I mean, at first, like I thought he was a good guy at first. Like I got on cool with him. I told him like, look, man, like the last thing I want to do is infringe on anyone's patents. Like I know how hard it is to develop something. Um, and it turns out he's just be completely fake. So that was kind of a shocker to me. But apparently it's pretty common. I called Benji. He said, yeah, it's pretty common. Just get a lawyer to check it out. And the lawyer told me you don't necessarily have to do anything. It probably is bluff, and it was bluff. So yeah, as far as copycats, only one from AliExpress, but they're not serving the same customers as we are, so it's okay. Just that guy, but the rest of the community's been pretty nice. Like, uh, I remember I went to the Clever Built Stan. Is his name Paul? Is that his name?
Steve.
Steve. That's not even close. I'm so sorry. I had dinner with him too. Yeah, I hope I can get a marriage like what they've got. That's amazing. But yeah, so I was like telling him like, look, I'm gonna launch a product in a couple months, and it's gonna be in competition with your product. So I just wanted to let you know, like, be transparent, because I genuinely like the people in the industry. Um, and I don't want to be in like an awkward situation like this year, like having the products and being like, hey, like we're in competition, blah blah blah. But I talked to Keenan from Rep as well, and he said like it's normal to have competition in the industry, and it's just everyone's really trying to make a living. So um, yeah, just wanted to put that out there because I have huge respect
Yeah, like
for anyone launching
what did
anything.
Steve say?
He said that it's normal, like as long as we're not copying his design, it's normal, he said. And I appreciated his advice. Like I try to learn from everyone at Home Gym Con. Um, and I was asking him like, what do you advise me to do in terms of like designing and just like making new products? Because I'm about to go full time after this, and well, it was 4 or 5 months after Home Gym Con, or maybe three. I don't remember. But anyway, uh, and yeah, I was just asking him for advice. I asked for the Fringe guy's advice, the PRX guy's advice, um, Bridge Bill, everyone. Um, and yeah, it was for the most part just making it's common sense. It make useful stuff basically. Uh, and the way you go about it is different for each company. Like some of them have their own manufacturers, some outsource it, and and yeah, they were all very helpful. Like I think the fact that I'm young as well helps. Like I come out as like I try to learn from everyone, and obviously like everyone's maybe got 5 to 15 years on me, so a lot more experience than I do. Uh, but the community was just amazing to me. So that's kind of the reaction of the most part of people in the.
Good to hear. Um, this has been a great chat, by the way. Really enjoyed what the insights. And we can close this soon because it's been about an hour. But I'd love to hear, you know, talk about the future for Euclips for me. Maybe where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years. I can tell you for this year. I don't know if I can tell you for 5 to 10 years.
Give me
I'd
2 years.
say,
Give me two
all
years.
right, 2 years is better. Yeah, I can do 2 years. So right now, this year, the goal is to get 5 territories and 10 products.
Okay.
All of them would be like in the same realm of like optimal gym equipment, mostly accessories, because I don't think we have the. And again, this is a mindset thing. Maybe I need to unblock this, but I don't think we have the capacity to compete against the big brands in terms of like making dumbbells, benches, barbells, racks, all the major things that you'd find in every home gym, basically. So we're going to focus on attachments, rack attachments, cable attachments. I don't know what type of attachment that Euclip would be considered as, um, and just try to basically make sure that we have a catalog of accessories that would complete someone's home gym. So we're right now we're going to someone's already bought the essentials of a home gym, and they're trying to optimize it. That's where we come in. Um, that's that's this year and maybe early, like maybe half of the year after. After that, I want to have at least one product that's like in the mainstream catalog. So anything that goes into dumbbells, kettlebells, benches, barbells, anything like that, so that we can actually scale and go past the accessory business, if that makes sense. Like if we want to get from people that have home gyms that want to optimize it to people that are starting a home gym and need equipment. Um, and then once we get to that and we find success in that, we want to make sure that at one point we want to be able to supply an entire, like, this is probably in 5 to 10 years. It's going to be so hard that it probably will take 5 to 10 years. We want to be a brand where if you wanted to build out your home gym, you could with us, and it'd be the most optimal home gym as possible. We'll still focus on small spaces, like garages or basements, and just try to maximize what you can do to mimic what you would find in a commercial gym, but at home, so you can train as much as you want and have time to spend with your family and kids. Um, so yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Makes sense. What about the company name? Like, is that something you think about changing because,
Yeah,
it's the name of a single product?
yeah, I've had this question a few times, but I actually talked to Steve about it. I talked to Steve about it,
Yeah.
and he was telling me like they changed it. I think it was like a year in or something, and I'm just at this point. I think we'll keep Euclips just like AdMat kept AdMat. Um, but even when I talked to Dylan when he was working there about this, like he was telling me, ideally you change it to something, but if you don't, it's not like a huge problem. It's just gonna get confusing at one point. Because like you can buy the AdMat from AdMat, like you can buy the Euclip from Euclips. Uh, but I think it'll be all right. Euclips has a good ring to it, in my opinion. So it's easy to remember. It's quick, it's short. I think we'll stick with it. I don't see myself changing to, I don't know, like if I am gonna change to something, it'll probably be like a cool Greek name or something. I don't know, but for now, it's staying with Euclips. Yeah. What would you suggest? What would you suggest? Would you
Mhm.
say like
I mean,
change it or no?
I am going back and forth in my head. I'm thinking about where he could be at 5 years from now, and I'd love to hear what people think and put that in the comments. Like, what do you all think? I think, keep it for now and see what the next couple products look like couple product launches look like. But it's you probably have like a year to decide if you progress like you think. I would just say like I would off the top of my head I would say keep it, but keep an open mind. Just like especially knowing like you got a pulley system coming out, maybe more accessories. I don't know. I think keep it. I do think keep it, but it's tough. It's really tough
Yes, lots of
because you got to survive right now, and that's the best way to get people to you right now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Like Euclips is gonna be what we're known for the next at least 3 years, I think. So yeah, definitely gonna. But I'll quote you on that. I'll say Jake said keep it, so we're keeping it.
Oh, let's see. Anything else you want to talk about while you're here?
Yeah, I do want to talk to you about this home gym con. Can I get so since we're doing accessories, well the problem I had in like the home gym con last year was I had a booth, but I didn't have I didn't have the since we optimize equipment from like a general home gym, it was like I didn't have any equipment to optimize with. So like my booth was empty because I had to go and show people how to use it with other people's booths. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this year, can I like arrange like some sort of agreement with another company that says like we're gonna be able to show our products within their booth uh, and be at the same place they are um, to like to basically show how to use the products. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought that's kind of what you did last year. Um,
Yeah, but we went with weighted out, and so we were kind of limited in terms of like since their main products are plates, like we couldn't show necessarily how to use it as a landmine, how to use it as as a T-bar row, belt squat, etc. So it was mainly like for the dip function, the dip belt function. Uh, so like a good one would be, for example, if we try to collaborate with PRX or Rep or something like that, where we can just like, well, I I can go ahead and show people how to use our. By then, we should have all the products that I mentioned before. So like if I can show how to use the back bar, if I can show you how to use the Viking press, the pulley system, the Euclips, um, all of that good stuff, like the smile handles, everything really. Um,
Yeah,
because
yeah. I
otherwise
mean,
it's kind of like
I'm I'm thinking like, it'd be cool for you to basically have like your own booth where you put a table and maybe that company's rack comes into your area a little bit and you have all your products. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty flexible. Whoever you can figure out to do that with. There were definitely companies who were open to sharing booths, or sharing their equipment as well. A few of the larger companies just brought an extra rack, for example. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe someone will listen to this and they'll reach out. If not, I'm happy to just reach out as well for a few people, or just take a good look at the site map and see maybe is there an opening somewhere. Yeah,
yeah, I think
no problem.
that's going to be the strategy this year. The most I think the most beneficial part of Home Gym Con is actually just being there and networking with the entire community. Like the gym equipment is great. Being able to use it in hand and in person and not just like seeing a picture of it is amazing. But like I'm not necessarily building a home gym, you know. So
Hmm.
it's like getting those connections. For example, I had dinner with Keenan from Rep. Shout out to him, an amazing guy in Chicago, like 2 weeks ago, and we were just catching up, you know. And
Mm.
it's like those types of connections that you make with people that are doing a very similar thing to you, um, and just like being able to connect with those people, chat about the gym equipment space, and just how friendly these guys are is has been amazing, you know. So I think that's the goal for next year as well. It's just like having the equipment available in a space where people can use it automatically, and then being able to connect with the companies that I haven't connected with again. I think you guys like you doubled the amount of companies that are coming or something.
Yeah, it's probably going to be about 3 times larger than last year.
Three
Yeah,
times, yeah. So that's
by the
that's just
time we
insane.
get
I
there.
think it's gonna be really awesome to connect with people. I think like again, my goal is to connect with as many people as possible when I get there. So I'll probably not be at the booth so much as to like just networking and learning from well, I want to say my peers, but they're all bigger than we are. So so those guys, that's
Right.
the goal at least.
Makes sense. Yeah, yeah. I was glad you could make it. It seemed like whenever I ran into you last year, were having a good time, and definitely brought some value to you. So, I mean, that's all I can
Yeah.
ask. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And again, you guys, I mean, you were super flexible, and I appreciate that. Like, I literally, I had to leave, I had to leave class to get to home gym con, on time. I remember it was like I was telling my professor, I was like, yeah, I'm going to this event called Home Gym Con. It's like Comic Con, but for home gym equipment. And they were like, what? I was like, don't worry about it.
One day they'll know.
One day they
One
will.
day, hopefully. Cool, cool. Well,
But yeah,
unless you have anything else, thanks for the time. Like I said, I really enjoyed, the very practical business advice that you gave, and it's cool to hear your story. And yeah, hopefully can see you again in about 5 months.
yeah, yeah. A rendezvous in 5 months.
All right, man.
Thank you,
Thank
Jake.
you.
I appreciate the time as well.
Awesome. Thanks.